This is TWiT. Microsoft had their EDU event in New York City on, was it Tuesday morning? Yeah. And announced a new Surface laptop aimed clearly, well, announced a new version of Windows, Windows 10S, aimed at schools. And they talked a lot about some of the features that they're going to put in the new Windows, including administrative software Intune for education. Their Slack competitor, Microsoft Teams, will be available for there'll be Teams for education, and I think that's actually pretty smart because I'm sure kids would very much prefer to be, you know, talking with other kids over something more like Slack than, you know, whatever it is. I
don't know about that. I've got a 6-year-old, and in her school they're having a major so her school is a STEM school, yeah, and all the kids have to have everybody has to be on iOS or.
Well, that's the problem.
Well,
they're on
iPads.
iPads.
In middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, but here's the real problem. The real problem is that chat software. So the real problem is iChat, and the kids are distracted. They can't get them off of iChat. Any kind of chat software is a problem. And if you think about it, you know, when I was in school, we hand wrote notes and passed them along to people. That was a problem. But what's the real issue here, and this is why I had a hard time getting excited about the new Surface, is that you know, what a 6-year-old, the way that a 6-year-old sees the world and the exposure and experience they have to technology is fundamentally different from the 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds who are creating the new systems and who have this sort of top-down approach for what's going to work best for the kids. And they don't think through the future implications of what they're building. And so you wind up with problems down the road where now we've got these, like, it's constant kids who you know can't pay attention, and they're constantly chatting with each other. Like nobody in the classroom wants Slack. Or a Slack competitor of Microsoft or anything like that.
6-year-olds are too young. But on the other hand, if you don't you have to go to high school? I mean, high schoolers are coming in. They've just spent the entire evening playing, you know, Minecraft or World of Warcraft or Overwatch with each other while on Skype. And then now they come in the classroom and it's like they're going back to the 19th century. You've got to kind of, don't you, have to reach out to them a little bit?
I don't know. I have a pretty radically different viewpoint on just kids and technology. And even with the school that my kid goes to, I think the best possible preparation for the future is a super hardcore, super rigorous liberal arts education, because the kids are going to pick up, and if they want to be an engineer, that's awesome. And if my kid wants to be an engineer, that's great. But a lot of the critical reasoning skills are being sort of pushed out of the curriculum in a lot of places.
Wait, so are you saying that there shouldn't be technology, or there should?
No. I'm saying for some reason that I can't wrap my head around in the U.S., it's all or nothing. So all of this, like a lot of the STEM programs are very, very intensive when it comes to the sort of technology and, you know, basic engineering stuff and basic math stuff, but there's no connection back to philosophy or humanities. You know, it's sort of like a very, very intensive in sort of just one direction. I don't understand.
You're starting to sound like Bill Bennett. Do you want the Western canon to be taught in the...
I don't know.
You kids today, remember Socrates.
It's not the kids. It's the adults. You look at a lot of
I completely agree with you. I'm just teasing you. Yes.
Because the adults feel so left behind themselves.
Right.
That they're enforcing this. And no, because my job is to look ahead. And my real concern is 30 years into the future, when my kid is, you know, her age group is running the country, they will have missed out on things like comparative lit and religion.
But they'll know how to use Twitter like nobody's business.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do have to say, I feel like my background kind of has the opposite of this use case. You know, I grew up in Mississippi. I went to high school in Mississippi that was criminally underfunded in the 90s. And, you know, I work in technology today. And the only reason that I'm able to work in this field is because of, you know, privilege and having parents that bought me, you know, computers that were $3,000-$4,000 back then. And I can very clearly see from some of the play testing my studio has done about how technology is destroying kids' ability to focus. We absolutely see that. But at the same time, I think like I think it's so unrealistic to have kids out there in the real world engaging in systems that like meet your needs and your thoughts every few seconds, and then expecting them to go into a classroom where it's like chalk and staring into books and taking notes that way. The human mind just doesn't work that way. And because our public schools are so criminally underfunded, I think there's got to be a better middle ground here.
Good points.
Apple could give its $250 trillion and a free charger
to every child in this country.
In this country, the problem would be solved.
Actually, it's interesting because Apple is getting lapped now. They were getting lapped by Microsoft Windows. Apple put Apple IIs in every classroom practically in the country 20 years ago. They're being lapped first by Windows and now by Chromebooks. And Apple, I think, is just at this point abandoned the education market. What do you think, Brianna, of this Minecraft Education Edition? To me, this is exciting.
I love it. I absolutely love it, Leo. Something I think about a lot when we talk about Minecraft, Super Mario Brothers is something that we talk about like a classic of a classic, and a literal exponential number more children play Minecraft and interact with Minecraft today. It has wonderful educational benefits for children with autism on the autism spectrum because they can interact with people socially and not like look them face to face, and it lets them develop social skills over type. I think this is absolutely wonderful, and I'm very happy to see it.
Yeah. But Amy, when you see this, this is obviously, I would say this is aimed at maybe from 5th grade through 10th grade or 9th grade. Do you think this is an appropriate use of technology? Would you?
Yeah, it's not that. And listen, we volunteer. It's a private school that our daughter goes to, and we chose it, so we have her there for a reason. My concern is just sort of this global in our country, this sort of everybody's throwing money at makerspaces and at which is fine. Like all of these skills are fine, but and this sort of teach every child to code. The challenge is somebody needs to then bridge that to other critical thinking, flexing other parts of the muscle and other critical thinking areas and things like culture and gender. All of this other stuff sort of just is not being addressed. So Minecraft is fine and collaborative tools for kids are fine. It's my concern is as I model this out, because I'm a parent, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. But 3 decades into the future, we have a workforce full of people who have good ability to think in a linear, structural way, and whose skill, technical skills will have compounded over a certain amount of time. But are they creative thinkers? How do they relate to their fellow humans?